Next storyteller for today is Mala Krishnan, who's joining us from Seattle, United States of America. Let me introduce her. She is a friend who was staying in Doha for a long time. She is a passionate social worker and nature lover. She believes in making the best of every opportunity that life offers. Being a part of a charitable organization under the Indian Embassy, Qatar, she was fortunate to help many needy and desperate people. She believes that spreading smiles in the lives of needy is the most gratifying experience in life. Today, Mala is going to share with us her story that is titled The 2nd of August. Friends, help me welcome Mala with a round of applause. Over to you, Mala.
Dismay, distress, utter confusion written all over her face. She clutched her baby, and there she was. Nothing could stop her. She came pleading, begging at that officer. Bacha, bacha, please, please. Hello friends, this is Mala coming to you from beyond the Arabian Sea with a story which is across the Arabian Seas. Once upon a time, almost 31 years ago, I woke up in a hot, humid Thursday morning, the 2nd of August. And my baby, my little 1-year-old, had just celebrated his first birthday. And myself and my husband Krishnan, we were so much adoring his baby steps. Baby steps? It was for us also. Just 6 months ago, we had landed in this country, leaving our bank jobs back home in India. 7 a.m. in the morning, husband getting ready to go to work, and suddenly the phone bell rings. Tring, tring. No mobile. Only landlines. Remember? 31 years ago. And that too, corded one. My husband takes the phone and I can overhear his colleague telling him, "Hey Krishnan, you know, Iraq has captured Kuwait." My husband, the very sincere banker he is, he was getting late to work, he just dismisses it. And he tells him, "Hey Lakshmi Narayan, this must be some rumor, yeah. We'll talk about it at work." And he keeps down the phone. As soon as he keeps down the phone, suddenly we hear a huge explosion. We all get startled and my little one starts crying. He starts crying and pointing to the glass door at that corner. And that used to open to the balcony. And what we see there was a huge smoke. We were totally taken up. And suddenly we realized that something was terribly wrong. To add fuel to that fire, or I would say explosion, my dear hubby announces that, "Okay, I'm leaving for office." I look at him pleading. "What's happening? How? What? How can you do this? How can you leave us alone here?" But before I could even utter those words, he marched out. Left to myself, I slowly go to the door and quietly bolted. The moments later were the scariest moments in my 23-year-old life. The sounds of the bombs, the explosions were never stopping. I quietly took up my baby and built up some courage, and I go and peep outside that window. As I peep outside, the sight which I see is actually, I feel, just out of a James Bond movie. I could see some military helicopters hovering all around. And suddenly, one of them, he slowly started landing just underneath the window where I was just peeping out. And out comes an Iraqi soldier, not one, two or three. And grenades, machine guns, everything. What not? I was like, my heart came into my mouth. And they started coming towards our building. I quietly closed the curtains and came inside. Tears started flowing out of my eyes. Alien land, war, soldiers, guns, and an alien of an husband, a stranger who doesn't even care for me. He just leaves us. Why can't he be like those Amitabh or Dharmendra? Why can't he just be, uttering those sweet nothings? Alas. Well, after 2-3 hours, our dear husband returns, but not alone. He has a car full of colleagues, including his young Iraqi secretary Iman with him. Iman. That name was the most irritating name. He had been ranting all around. And now when I see her in my house, sitting in my couch and sipping the coffee made by me, it was totally intolerable. Again, my ever compassionate, big-hearted husband again gets out. He wants to drive in that war-torn city with totally life-threatening roads, and he wants to drop each and every one of them to their respective homes. Next day, my husband tells me that you better make all the international calls. And thankfully, I obeyed him. And I made all the calls to India, to our near and dear ones. And from the next day, all the calls were blocked. Not only that, the airports were closed. There were no flights. So we had absolutely no contact with the outside world. Things were totally uncertain. My husband takes out a box, keeps my documents, my passport, baby's passport and everything, closes the suitcase and tells me, see, any danger, don't wait for me. You just leave with the baby. Mornings were spent going to the embassies, checking out whether there are any routes we can get out from this war-torn city. Friends would come in the afternoon and we would be sitting around in the floor mapping out how to go, at least a road. By road we can go out. And in the afternoons he would be combing around all the supermarkets in the city because there was nothing left in the supermarket. I still remember one day him coming back from the supermarket with a mega bottle of honey. And when I ask him why, he says, that's the only thing left. Things were becoming bad to worse. And on top of it, the BBC radio, which was the only contact for us to the outside world, kept on ranting. How to protect, how to prolong your life in case of biological war. In the nights, we had our neighbors who would be sleeping in our same apartment. Each other we were giving that moral support. And after spending some 20 horrifying days in that atmosphere, finally one day my husband rushes in and tells me, come on, pack up. We are leaving. I said, what? Yes, it seems he came to know that the military flights which were coming in from Baghdad, when they used to bring in the soldiers, while they were getting back, they were empty. And there was a chance if we can convince that military officer, we could get away from this place. So hurriedly, we just took all our stuff. It was not an easy task. The absolutely beautiful, fully furnished apartment of ours, the first time in a foreign country, with a beautiful carpet, with that beautiful electrical gadgets, and all those things, leave them, and which one to take was the big question mark. But when you are scrambling for life, nothing else matters. And off we left, leaving the apartment, off to the airport base, the military base rather, and we left our car there and we rushed inside. The soldiers were shouting, "Yalla, yalla, shuno hada, shuno hada." But nothing would stop me. At that time, I feel the prayers of our brothers and sisters back home, the prayers of our parents, truly melted that stern and the strict military officer standing at the counter. As I pleaded and begged at him, showing my little baby, his heart melted. And we could hear that beautiful golden words of his, "Yalla, yalla, go, go." And there we went. And as I sat inside that aircraft, tears wept in my eyes. No, not because of losing all those personal belongings, not because of that, but because these tears were of joy, were of adoration, were of pride of this, my man, my soul mate, a life companion in the truest sense, because he didn't wait for the sweet nothings, because love is not that. Love is not just proclaiming "I love you" and sweet nothings, but to stand up with your loved ones at the time of need. That's true love. That's the definition of a true life companion. Well, our journey had not ended. We reached Baghdad. The sights in Baghdad were so heart-touching. Normal people like us were on the streets. Babies in makeshift cradles. People living in the sidewalks, all waiting for that ticket where they could go back to their own countries. Fortunately for us, a good Samaritan had exchanged our Kuwaiti dinars, which had become nothing, zero, into some US dollars. And we took our flight to Amman, Jordan. And from there, we took that golden flight towards our motherland. As we touched the soil of our motherland, truly it felt as if we have just woken up from a nightmare. What a day it was, 2nd of August. Never to be remembered, totally to be erased from our memory. But friends, life's wild roller coaster ride has its own twists and turns. On that same day, 3 years later, our beautiful daughter, Anjali, was born, as if symbolizing joy, hope, gratitude. And we celebrate that particular day with all fervor and jubilation, and not only the 2nd of August, each and every moment of this new lease of life, with all the enjoyment and relishing and cherishing every moment of this new life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mala, for sharing that thriller of a personal story with us. You know, it is not, it is an extraordinary experience experience indeed that you went through. Very rarely people may face such situations, and you brought that experience to life, brought it before us in the form of the story. And what I like most is the details, the descriptions, and the expressions that you used for narrating your story, and also how you connected that experience. You said, I don't want it to be repeated, or I just want to erase it, and yet you brought that hope back to it by phrasing the birth of your daughter with that excellent narrative. Mala, thank you so much for choosing to share the story with us. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Shanti. It was my joy, and thank you for giving me this forum. Thank you so much.
And I like the small nuances you put in while narrating such a story. Also, you had that little element of your playfulness and that little bit of humor to make it interesting, and it was excellent, Mala. Thank you so much.
Thanks.